Hey everyone, this is Iron Torch 20 and welcome back to the immediate reaction to episode 2 of the 5th season. And what I did like about this particular episode was that they did introduce more of a comedy element to it and then hit you with all the serious stuff at the end. And just like before, this is going to be a lot of spoilers, so if you didn't watch the episode, you can go ahead and just wait before listening to this. But either way, I made a few changes and I'm not going to be talking over an NES game this time. This time it's just going to be a still. But with that out of the way, I might as well just go over the episode and my overall thoughts on it. What I do love is that most of the slapstick was for the beginning of the episode where you get a little glimpse into Aku's morning routine and what he's been doing for the last 50 years or so. And I also found it amusing that he has to put on his eyebrows like it's makeup or something. And there were other episodes where some like intense shock, like in the one in the graveyard when he was fighting the zombies, where his eyebrows would just go out, like the flames would just go out in intense shock. And then also it turns out that evil demons need to sleep. Who knew? And then Aku also immediately introduced stretching into his morning routine, which is something I found pretty comical. I mean, I do that too, so that's just something just to mention. And what I did like about Greg Baldwin's overall portrayal of Aku was the concern I had was that he'd do a good job providing the voice, but wouldn't be able to make Aku, I guess, more of a comical character, much like the same way that Mako did. But I actually think Baldwin did a pretty good job harnessing Aku's personality and also just making him, the evil being that he is. And also, with this episode, you kind of got a glimpse of the way he's been handling Jack just still being around. And what I did like was that the scientists from the Tale of XCIII did return, and how they invented a new beetle drone. And in this case, you have Aku saying that he really doesn't care about Jack anymore, and that he pretty much acts like he already won, which, he might have with the way this could end, who knows. Because he did already destroy all the time portals, and he doesn't know that Jack doesn't have his sword yet, but something tells me he is going to find out pretty soon. And also, with Aku, there was this little part with him talking to, I'm guessing was a clone of himself as a therapist. And then it's also what he would do with Jack still around, but he figured that eventually Jack was going to die of old age, but then that didn't happen. So now Aku is just not really sure of what to do with him. Which is kind of like that scene with the Joker in The Dark Knight when he was talking about, I always chased cars, but I would never know what to do with one if I ever caught one. That kind of thing. So now we're kind of getting a little glimpse as to what Aku wouldn't do, or would do, if something did happen to Jack, and I don't know, that's just something that could bore him. I mean, at least when he flung Jack into the future, he spent a lot of his time building up his forces and then conquering the world and opening his ports to the universe and whatnot. So, I mean, at least he still had that, but now that he has everything, then what? So it's an interesting little philosophical discussion. Afterwards, we get this pretty unique visual of a wolf walking across paths, and then eventually he chooses the path on the left, and there's these 3 green tiger-like creatures that he has to fight, which actually was a nice metaphor for what was going on in the episode, where Jack ends up taking the path on the left, and then the daughters of Aku attacked him. And afterwards we get the hotly anticipated confrontation between Jack and the daughters of Aku, as was mentioned plenty of times in the trailer. And so far, and they were fighting very well. I mean, the daughters of Aku were fighting pretty well, and the fight scenes overall were terrifically choreographed. I do like the way they were all drawn up, and I do like the way or just the overall animation with the fight scenes, and I'll definitely get more into that as the episode goes on, or as this reaction goes on. And when the Daughters of Aku were winning, and that was because they were destroying all of Jack's weapons, including his badass minigun. There was this one scene with Jack hiding out from them, and then this vision of him from the first series was basically that part that was also given away with a teaser with the "how much longer can it go on" thing, and I think that was more, well, like the visions from the first episode focused more on his guilt. I think this one focused more on his hopelessness, and also that it was just probably better that he just let somebody kill him, or even, God forbid, kill himself eventually, and then be reunited with his ancestors. And then afterwards, the episode, our Jack hides out in an ancient temple. And I also do like the visuals with the fireflies lighting away, or the way, and the way the Daughters of Aku set up their trap for him. And then when he ran towards the center, like that throne with the king was there, it actually reminded me a lot of the Shaolin Temple from one of the previous episodes. They even have the like the tree roots and the lights and all those things there, so that makes me wonder if that was just a little plug that they had for that episode. I mean, it is definitely something worth thinking about. But either way, they definitely had a lot better fight scenes in this one than they did. I mean, granted that there was only one big fight in the last episode, and that was pretty well choreographed too, and I also do like the overall animation and the way they were just fighting, and either way the technique's very good for these fights too. And as it was more of an adult-oriented series, I kind of figured there'd be a lot more action. So that is something that I'm satisfied to be seeing. And anyway, the episode ends with Jack killing one of the Daughters of Aku, and this was one of the big questions I had with how Jack was going to handle the fact that he ends up killing somebody, because one of the, or in the argument he has with his past self, he just assumed that the Daughters of Aku were just robots, but then he didn't know that they were organic beings. And you did see Jack kill somebody, like the Princess and the Bounty Hunters. I think that was the only time Jack ever actually killed anyone. And even though they didn't show any blood or anything, I mean, you could kind of put two and two together there. And Jack was supposed to be this seriously compassionate guy, but I mean, I think the fact that he did end up realizing that he killed a person definitely did get to him, so I mean, he is still kind of jaded, but there is still some of his pure spirit left. And also the show ends with him blowing up the temple and then also running away to the river. And then the show ends with all of the tigers and also the wolf dead, which could be a nice little, well, I guess not nice, but it could be a preview as to the way this actually turns out. But I mean, that's something that we are going to have to wait and see. And what I did like about that particular wolf and tiger story was just the way everything was portrayed. I mean, Samurai Jack was pretty known for creating a lot of unique creatures, and those tiger things were definitely no exception. But either way, you have this lone wolf fighting these tigers, putting up a pretty good fight too, and you know, eventually it was just going to be a war of attrition, so that does make me wonder if that's going to be a metaphor for the rest of the season. And as for next episode, the remaining Daughters of Aku will track down, or will try to track down the samurai, and then there's the other part that was kind of given away in the teaser too, with either leave here and live, or choose or stay here and face your destiny, or that part. I mean, I do think that Jack's dialogue is definitely getting more badass, but I don't know. That is something I am definitely looking forward to watching next week. See, outside of that, I don't really have much else. I mean, we're already at 10 minutes here. So I will see you next week.